Oh, you guys, okay, now can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me now? Oh, okay. Oh my gosh. I'm waiting for a couple of people to come on. So hopefully they're ready. So anyways, what we're gonna talk about is a lot of different topics that's very important to a lot of us. So hi Daniel. So it's very interesting that what topics that we're gonna talk. One is how about bullying because there's been a lot of bullying lately, and it's so sad that people have to bully others for just for fun of it or what. But to me, that's you know wrong. I think that being bullied is something that they probably were bullied when they're a child or whatever. But bullying someone for no reason, it's something that it's a dumb way to do to others. I think it's not funny. I don't think it's awesome to do it. Whatever how you feel, I think it's wrong. If I had children and they were bullying someone on an internet or in person, whatever the case may be, I would defend my children because we hear all these bullying that's going to school, internet, and of course other media. And it's sad that you have to go through it to just hurt others. It's so sad. And we're all grown ups, and yet bullying. It sounds like you guys are, these bulliers that bully people. They act like an 8-year-old child of 5. It's so sad. I think sometimes people that are bullied need to step up and speak because that way it can stop. I haven't been on doing streams for a long time. I'm a little nervous again, but hopefully I could do more streams. Um, but going back to the bullying, you know, before you bully someone, look at yourself first and look at yourself really good and put your place in that position of the other person that you're bullying and feel the same way. But look at yourself first because, you know, you will see the same mirror that you're doing to others. So, I mean, this topic is very heavy. Um, like I said, around us, because there's bullying around us no matter what, where we go, what we do, what we see. There's always bullying. You know, my niece and nephew, especially my niece, she was also bullying when she first started school. Okay, that's why I homeschooled them because she was only 4. And the first day that they bullied her, I took her out and I homeschooled them because of the bullies. And and it's sad that children have to go through it because they see adults doing it. And these adults that are bullying others need to grow up and quit acting like a kid because that's not right. This is where these children or even adults that are being bullied, their emotions changes in different ways. They can have anger. They can think of sad things. They can think of suicide. They can think of many other things that they can do to themselves. Or they will continue to bully others because they were bullied. Or you can push that person to do drugs, drink. You don't know the harm that you cause by doing bullying to others. You don't even know. This is why we have so much a percentage that teenagers are doing suicide because of these bullying. It's so sad to see adults doing it. How sad is that? And to me, bullying is one of the problems we have at this moment too. But us as an adult that are really have mind what to think, right, than bullying others. But those that don't bully, you know, we have to stand up and speak for the children. Enough is enough. This is like a sickness, like a disease, like a worm that goes into an apple and makes it all bad. That's how bad it is. It's just like, oh God, it really upsets me a little because it's wrong. It's very wrong. And then when you get bullied, that person cries their emotions out. This is one of the topics that is very important for me to speak about. These that are being bullied, they have emotions. In case if I cry, of course they're gonna say, "Oh well, you're just a baby." Well, guess what? I have feelings. Other has feelings. Everybody has emotions and feelings. But they don't care. They don't care who they hurt. They don't care what they say. And it's so sad that I have to see it and hear it. It is so sad to see adults playing these CC games. I'm going to call it too. It's all CC games. But all you the bully people, get your life together. Again, like I said, look at yourself. You know, hi Empress, Angel, how are you? But you know, it's going back to what I was saying. I don't know when this is gonna stop in our schools, in our public places like library and other parks, and you know, this has to stop. I, honestly, you know, I was at a park with my niece and nephew, and they were going down one slide, and the other slide they wanted to go down, but I told them no. And there was this little girl that went down that slide, and when she slid down, guess what happened to her? This is why I get very upset. When she went down, There was a bottle, glass bottle, upside down. That little girl cut her legs and really bad because some kids put a glass in that slide. You imagine if that was my niece or nephew. And these are the gangs that the bullying is the same way, you know. We're supposed to give them, protect them, and give them love. And sometimes it's hard to protect your own children, your niece and nephew, from being bullied, by being hurt. Hi, Ginger. Okay, I send you the link and press. I add you. I mean, but I don't know how many of you guys that are hearing, or and those that are gonna hear this afterwards, agreeing what I'm saying about bullying. It's um, it's just very sad. And this is where they feed off of you when you have your emotions. They feed off your positive vibes. They drain you completely. And this is how they do to a child. They drain everything they got from their soul, their happiness, they take away. So, I mean, I wish I didn't see it, but I did. And I see it, and it's, it's so sad. I'm waiting for Empress to come on. Hope she comes on quick. Yeah, it is, Ginger. It is sad. You know, there is so much suicide because of the bullying. You know, it's terrible. I'm gonna check to see if Empress is back. Add her. Okay. So, you know, I'm just, since I'm talking about bullying, and the reason why I'm so much against it is because when I was also young, I was bullied. But when I got into my 7th grade, I started to defend myself, and let me tell you, it was terrible because what they said, you know, I just did a little back of defending myself. And now I see it again, and adults doing to another adult, which is, like I said, it's kids' game. So I know many will agree what I'm saying about these bullying. That's why there's suicide. That's why there's killing in schools because they're being bullied. And they end up killing the one that's bullying them. They suicide themselves for being bullied. How sad, isn't it? And now I see it on the internet. My gosh, how it just drives me nuts because again, we're adults and adults are playing like games. Now, emotion feelings. Many of us go through hard things and we don't know what we've been through or what that person been through. And a lot of times you have emotionals that are built inside of you that you can't even speak about it. And how the emotional, everyone takes it different. I take it by crying. That's me. There's others takes it by anger. Like they're upset with everybody. Some takes it suicide. Because they think that the whole world is after them, thinking about suicide. And I cried for everything because that's how I take my emotionals out of me. I have to. But there's others that take, like I said, they take it differently. They think that everybody's gonna, come after them, and they're scared. They don't know who to talk to, and that's what bullying is doing to them. The same way, playing around with their emotional, their mental, their health, really too. But most of all, they drain the positive vibes, the good spirit in them. When they are children or even adults that are good people and they don't deserve it one bit about being bullied. I never thought in my life that I will see or hear about bullying on adults. It brought a lot of memories about this bullying. But what upsets me is how they do it and what they say and where they say it and who they say it. Sorry, Libra. But anyways, there's supposed to be more talks, and I'm waiting for Empress. We're supposed to talk about also good things, not sad things. This is not sad. It's just something that needs to be spoken out again about what's going on in the internet and about bullying. Well, it is my main topic. And I know Empress has things to say about this topic. Just don't know why she's taking long. Okay. But anyways, I just hope it stops. That's why I'm wishing for it stops completely. Hi, sir. But anyways, I don't know what all you all think, but I know what I think. Does anybody want to talk any topics in chat that I don't know? No, I'm not. It's just I see it. I see what they're doing and it's bringing me down. And instead, it's making me stronger to. I'm gonna to defend myself and defend others that are being bullied as well. So I'm fine. I'm happy. It's just something that it had to come out and speak about it because lately I've been seeing it and hearing it. So that's why this hangout is about a lot of stuff that we need to talk about. That's why I did this hangout, or else I wouldn't have done it. But I'm here. All people, free people. Hi. So yeah, I'm just waiting for them to hurry, jump in. I could talk about politics if you guys want to. I could talk whatever I know about the politics because I'm in there too now. I'm hearing everything what Trump is saying and our governors because they're running for politics for governor and for senator. So I've been in tune with them to see what their new laws or what their ideas are for Arizona and for our country. So I'm into all that too when I have time. So, hi G33, welcome. Genesis, I'm glad you guys are all making it here. So, so anyway, where was that? I forgot where I was at speaking. What's that? Oh, politics. Mm, I'm just gonna speak a little bit. I don't really talk about. I hear everything what they're saying, but I really don't, you know, want to get too much involved. But I know that Trump is promising things, and of course, he has not done one thing for this country what he has promised, especially our water and air. That was the main thing many voted for is to clean our air and our water. But we have not seen not once, nothing about that. So I feel that he's in it as well, or else he would have done something. But need to have clean air and clean water, same as our plants and animals. But there's things that I agree with Trump what he he's doing, and I don't agree. There's so much I don't agree. But this year I'm not voting this time because it's just all BS. And it's all trying to control you, of course. And our vote doesn't count anyways. They already picked who's the president, which is going to be Trump, and who's our governor or senators. They already know. So when McCain died, Arizona senator, there's another person taking his place, which he was a friend of McCain, and he got his place. They brought him back to be a senator for until someone won senator seat. So, so there's things that I agree with Trump, and there's things that I don't, because he hasn't completed nothing he has promised us. Sorry, guys. I know you guys like Trump, some of you, but I'm just being accurate when I see. But so they're just thinking for themselves, like always. But Arizona is already go through voting right now. But I don't think I'm gonna vote this coming election. Like I said, and here in Arizona, I'm not sure yet. There's a lot of good laws that they want to pass, which has to do with the taxpayers. But what I don't like is what they want to do for our school system, which I don't believe one penny what they say. Because our school system here in Arizona, some parts are good and some parts are really bad. So our school system is a broken school system already for a long time. And us as taxpayers are the ones that are paying for these schools. And they're not doing their job the correct way, the truth way. Are you here, amiga? Oh, yeah.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I'm here. Can you hear me? Yes. Yay, you made it. Yes. That's
Hola.
your truth. Hola, amiga. ¿Cómo estás?
Good.
Can you guys can you guys hear Impress? Hey, Sean. But we were talking. I know you were hearing some of what we were talking about, bullying and emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk
Yeah.
about anything that we just did? What I just said.
Yeah, I caught some of it. I had to step out of the room for a minute, but I did catch some of it. And I was reading about just how we become the adults that we are, and how our environment in our childhood and our upbringing really does affect our adulthood. And really, we don't really realize it until we become adults. So if you were not loved enough, if you were not appreciated enough, or given enough attention, or given enough just respect, those things are going to play out in your life. And that's why I sympathize with people who are bullies, because I can have empathy for them because I'm an empathetic person. I can, even though you hurt me with your words, I still feel for you, and I still love you, and I still forgive you, because I know that your upbringing, just as a lot of us, our upbringing, you know, we may have gone through a lot of trauma, and it's up to us to realize that trauma and to get ourselves out of it. But if we get stuck, I think that's when we start to get upset at and frustrated with life, because we get what's the word, where you become like you have animosity towards your parents, you know, from the past, or from even just a woman in general, because they're your mother, you know, have a good relationship with your mother or your father. And so in the future, you know, it's going to be showing that way, where the relationship between, you know, you and another person may reflect your trauma, your childhood trauma. And it's difficult, you know, there's no easy way to get through these things. Um, it requires people who have empathy to be around you. That's my opinion, because then people can relate, or at least listen, and have that patience and compassion, so they can see themselves growing, and as well as you grow, you know, because it's not always easy to talk to somebody who's been, you know, traumatized as a youth. Like I was definitely bullied as a child. I remember very clearly how hard it was. And you know, and people may say I'm an emotional adult now, but you know what? I'm glad I can be in touch with my emotions. And I mean, I'm not just crying on a dime, but I can feel deeply, you know, and that makes for good friends. That makes for good lovers, you know, that makes for good family. And so, even though it's like, you know, when you're talking to people who have had, you know, issues in their and trauma in their life that haven't dealt with, it's hard to be friends with someone like that. Not because I don't want to be their friend, but more times than many, it's because they're pushing me away, because maybe I have helped them, or not even help, because maybe they didn't want the help, but maybe I caused them or was a catalyst to bringing some emotions to the surface, so that they could see themselves. Like what you were talking about, the mirror is true.
Mm-hmm.
It's like our emotions are our mirror. Our best friends or our closest people that we talk to all the time, those are our mirrors and our reflections. And if we can't
Yeah.
see, you know, if we can't see that, then you know, I feel bad, because you become blinded to yourself. And then that's who
Mm-hmm.
really gets damaged, is yourself. Everyone else,
Exactly.
right? And so if you're dealing with someone, they can be stronger in that sense, because hey, we've been bullied. I've been bullied before, okay? I know how this goes. I'm not saying they were bullying me. I'm just saying that, you know, the recovery of the emotion, but still be able to open your heart to people and forgive people and love people the way that they are, you know?
Exactly. I mean, if you give love, they give you love back. If hate, they hate you. And you bully, then they're
But
gonna end up turning bullying. I mean,
sometimes you give someone love and they don't know what to do with it. And
they
they're
give you
like
hate.
frightened. Well, yeah, the fear makes them feel maybe not hate, but you know, they get jealous, or they get frustrated or impatient, you know, or annoyed, like irritated, you know, because they're like, you know, why are you so, you know, loving and happy? Wait, have you not struggled in life? And that's not fair, because if someone is loving and happy, and that doesn't mean they didn't struggle. That, or because they're crying or whatever, that doesn't mean that they didn't struggle. That means that they've overcome so much more. And if people
Mhm.
can't see that, it's not for them to see. And I feel bad for those people, you know, because my heart is big. My heart is big, especially for
I
those
think
that have been hurt.
I think those that are humble themselves, like we used to talk, um, and you help those that are in need, and they
Mhm,
turn around and they bullied you, you
mhm.
know, and I'm talking here in person, okay, in person to person, and they're bullying you. it's like, well, I just helped you and you're bullying me. Well, how sad is that, right? And a lot of times bullying, like I said earlier, you don't know what they're going through their minds, what
Exactly.
they're thinking, what they're feeling. And like I said, for us to be adults and they're bullying another adult, to me, it's a kid's game, acting like a 5-year-old child, you know, um, almost like, oh, this and this. But the thing is, they're young children that are polite, a lot, you know, and they know everything too. I mean, they know when they're bullied. You have to teach your children now to the signs of bullying and speak to an adult, your parents. Because if you go to a principal or a teacher, they don't do nothing. A teacher won't do anything, honestly. And um, and then you go to the higher, which is your principal, and they don't do anything. So a lot of them will stand for this bullying until something happens to that child or to that adult. Then the worst things can come, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When a lot of the times when bullies push, or not physically push. I mean, yeah, when you're a kid, I got pushed a lot. I got pushed by boys a lot because I didn't want to give them attention. And so they would get,
Yeah.
I got pushed down a lot by the boys, man. They did not like me. And because I had my own stance in things, I was strong. I was a strong youth. And they were always trying to break me down. And, I had to deal with those emotions and that trauma that I dealt with. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
I had to deal with it, and it did. I had to be, for me, I was single for a long time because I felt like maybe it was affecting my relationships, you know? And so I took the time to focus on myself, in my 20s and stuff like that. And I
Mm.
traveled and, I I discovered things about myself more. And as I grew older, it just becomes more clear, you know? It's hard for that stuff to go away because it was really traumatizing. And when you're that young, that stuff sticks to you and you remember, you remember that. It's like that wrinkle in your brain, it's that memory that you can't really erase unless you've gone through some other kind of trauma to erase that, or you've blocked it out of your psyche, because that's a form of um, self is a form of self-healing, really, when you block things out, but it's not the healthiest thing to do. The healthiest
Mhm.
things to do, because you got to get that out. It's just going to be stuck. But if you forget about it, that's good too, because you don't want to remember traumatizing situations. You want to either heal them or forget about them, you know. But either way, that self-love, which is really hard sometimes to achieve or to even tap into, is a process sometimes. And your friends, your good friends, man, that's how you know. That's how you know who your friends are really, is when you're going through, some kind of change,
Mhm.
and ones that surface to be there for you are your real friends. And I've also
Yeah.
learned huge lessons learned from life experiences. And but with our experiences, we are nothing. We are not human. Experiences make us who we are, you know. And
Mhm.
yeah, and I'm grateful for those that I have around me that reflect that love, that love, that self-love that I know I have within me. Sometimes we get caught up and we think we are, you know, we're not perfect, we're not perfect beings, but we try to be heartful, I mean, like heart filled and heart full when we're doing stuff. Like our heart is full. My heart is always full whenever I'm talking to people that I care about. I'm telling them, you know, what herbs to take, or you know, what advice or whatever I can share with them that I know or I have experienced. That's all coming from my heart. None of that
Yeah,
is vanity, you know. If it was vanity, it would be I wouldn't be where I am today. You know, if I wasn't grateful and if I didn't have gratitude, I wouldn't be where I am today. Meaning
mhm,
the friends, the roof over my head, you know, the blessings that I count every single moment, every single day, my youth, like all these things.
yep,
That's you know, that's how I know that I'm the gratitude of that continues the abundance. So the more you're grateful,
exactly.
especially for your friends, especially for those who have been there for you at roughest times, that is the gratitude you must show. Even if you don't show it to them, you must feel it in your heart, or else you're gonna get sour, you know, and callous, and you put those walls up again. We need to heal as a humanity, as a
Yep,
people, you know, men and women.
exactly.
You know what I mean? And I'm just going and going. So go ahead, Amika, interrupt me. Sorry.
Well, fine. Hi, Bert. Thank you for coming. I'm glad I get to see a lot of you guys from Harmonies hang out. Um, but yeah, I agree. I mean,
Gosh.
it's so sad that we, as an adults and the children, have to go through all this, right, Amiga? I mean, Empress,
Mhm.
you know, sometimes we, when we're the sweetest person, or you're there for the elderly, or you're there for just to give that helping hand, you know, and for them to, what I'm trying to say is that when you're like that, friend, like I am, I'm that way. But and
Mhm.
then you have a good week, and the week you end up going through all this chaos, right? And it's like, oh my God, you know, I told people this, and especially one person, that how I wish I could change, right? But and then when I get to that point that I want to, I can't. Because then I start thinking, you know, when you do wrong, things will come wrong. When you do bless others, blessings will come. And I know that for a fact. I
Yes.
know that 100% because I always get it all the time. And it's because I like to give. I
Mhm.
don't wait for to receive because it says never wait to receive back.
Mhm.
But when you give with your heart and humble from it, from your heart to give, it will always come back. And I am thankful and grateful and blessed that I am being that way there. I'm receiving it. And every time I bless someone, that even the worst person in this earth that comes toward me, I still ask for blessings for that person. And I forgive them because a lot of times we don't know what they've been through in their lives. But see, but also the other hand, we need to stop everything what they're doing toward us or children or whoever of bullying. And this is where I always step in when I'm going through it. I have to step in and say something, even though, you know, even though after this I might be talked about, but it doesn't matter because I spoke my piece about bullying and about my emotionals, you know, because like I said earlier, no one knows the emotional of that. We don't know if that person is already in the edge, just a little
Exactly.
more push,
Exactly.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
just a, you
That's
know,
the
just a little
that's the
tiny push, then you put them over the edge to do something stupid because of this one person, or the other person is just attack after attack after attack. You know, it's just too much. It's way too much because, like I said, we don't know what that person or that child are going through. You know, we don't know if they're going through something in school, in their homes, in their own lives, or marriage lives. I'm not married, but you know what I mean.
Oh yeah.
So many people don't know that, and it's sad because it's like putting a gun in your head and shoot yourself really quick. You know what I'm saying? Because of the bullying and because you don't know what that little child or the adult's going through. And that's all they need is stupid bullying others. And it just gets me, it gets to me. And it's like repeating itself when I was a child. You know what I'm saying? But I won't stand for it. I can't, you know. And so I have you and others being bullied, you know. And that's what made me more and more be who I am today, you know, giving helping hands to others, because that's the best thing that you can give to a person. Because you don't, like I said, you don't know what day they're having or at work, and just being there, just giving a little bit of love, then you did a deed, right? That's how I take it. We did a deed today. So, but yeah, it's sad, emotional, really. And if they have children, these adults that were, with all adults that are bullying, if they have children, what would they feel if they did that to their child?
Yeah. That's empathy.
That's empathy.
So if you can
So
put
if you
yourself
can
in
put yourself
someone
in
else's
someone
shoes,
else's shoes,
and really
and really
kind of feel like they're feeling and see it from their perspective, that's true empathy. And there's a problem in our society. It's an epidemic, you know. When you say, so what I envisioned just now is a cafeteria full of bullies, and not anyone that's saying that they're bullies, self-proclaimed bullies, that they know they're bully. So they're going to go to this cafeteria because they're calling out all the bullies. If you think you're a bully, you're proud to be a bully, because that means
because that
they want to
that
make that
they want
seem
to
like
make
you're
that seem like
strong
you're strong
or you're brave or
or you're
you're
great
quick or
or you're
you
good
have,
or you have
you don't cry,
you don't
so
cry so
you're a bully, so
you're
you're stronger than everyone. So of course, they have a bully, they think strong. They think, whatever psychological, madness is going on in their reality. That's, and I see this cafeteria full of bullies. But what happens? They don't realize why they're in there. And this is just a scenario, a hypothetical scenario I was thinking of. And what if somebody were to ask these bullies one by one, tell me about your childhood. What was your very first childhood memory? And just like that, hear the silence. Because now it really is about them. The attention now is on them and not the bad attention that they want, because when you're a bully, you want to be in trouble. You want to feel like, oh, I'm tough because I went to the principal's office 3 times today or whatever. It's like you get to the root of the problem. Like, what was your first childhood memory? And then you see how many of these children have been that start to break down and cry or run out the room and say, I'm done with and they just can't handle it because it's too much emotion. And see, is it wrong to have too much emotion, or not enough emotion? Because if you don't have in touch with your emotions, then you're not able to really deal with your emotions when they come to the surface. Because then you start to, freak out like, oh no, I'm weak now because I'm crying. And now you're having all these thoughts about what are people going to say about you. Your parents are going to get angry. Someone's going to, beat you up because you're crying. All these things. And this poor child is going through this psychological trauma, and no one's paying attention to these people because they're just getting punished for their bad deeds. instead of being helped for what's really going on, is that true trauma that's been going on since day one, some of these youth, you know. So that was my hypothetical situation, and I feel like there could be solutions, but it's definitely going to be work, you know, for our society, because it starts as a child. You know, it starts in the home. It starts with the parents, and you know, the mother and the father, first of all, getting along. If you see your parents fighting, that's bullying. I mean, that's a, you know what I mean? Not like I'm saying one's at fault and the other's not at fault. They're both at fault. They're yelling, they're screaming at each other, but that's still bullying. Like they have this some kind of trauma that has gone on in their life, and they can't even deal with it. And now their children are seeing this, you know, example, and what are they going to do? You know, so it starts with the parents. It starts at home,
You
and
know how we
mm,
sorry to interrupt, but you know
no,
how we were talking earlier, how you know when you're around with people that are positive and negatives comes in, it drains all your positive vibes, your energy, the positive that you have inside of you. What they do is drain everything that they got to take away from you, and it's sad because you know when you're with a lot of positive people and you build on really good talk and negatives comes in, right, and destroys the good quality of building, learning from each other. It crumbles. It's like, you know, like, how can I say it, the red cells and the white cells, it's the same
mhm,
thing, like Pac-Man, you know, it's
mhm,
the same thing. Like these native comes in and start packing, you know, Pac-Man to others, this and this and that, right? And so when that's happening, we has positive vibes, we feel the negative vibes, okay? And sometimes the negative vibes probably get right, it toward the negatives. But us has positive, we're strong, you know, to get away from these negatives. And even though that you have good people that are very good, you know, positive people, you end up not being there because you don't want all this negative, right, vibes. And for me, and I don't know about you, Empress, but for me, it drains me. It drains me, and I have to build my own positive vibes, my positive energy, because I give a lot of positive to people. And if I'm drained because of negative, then I can't give that positive energy to others. Instead, I will give them the negative energies. And there's no way you can work with negative and positive. In other words, you can't be lukewarm. You know, you need to really be more on the positive than in the negative. Because the more there's positive people, the more we all can come together and help the negative. You know, try to mend whatever's there.
mhm,
But again, it's just like the red and the white cells. You know, you have to eat certain things to get these cells back.
yeah,
So it's the same thing, you know.
mm,
And the same thing has bullying. You got to get your, you know, whoever's being bullied, you have to team back up because they knocked you down. Like my dad used to say in Spanish, if someone hit you, you hit them back and you finish the fight. Because he knew that he had to make us tough in that area, you know, in person, face to face.
mhm,
But it's so hard to do that face to face when it's on the internet. The only thing we have is our voice.
mhm,
That's it. But for me, God, I could tell you a story, but I won't go there. But my father, if I didn't do what he asked me to do, I would get my, you know, my whooping, right?
mhm,
So I had to confront this teenager, and I didn't want to because I don't like fights. I don't like violence. But I had to do what I had to do because she did something that she really hurt me, and of course I was in sports, and but that's a different. It's almost like bullying, as well. But it's just it's sad, isn't it? We all have to face these negative vibes everywhere we go, not just where we're at or everywhere. But
Yeah.
again, to feel that negative vibes, you have to have that discernment of everyone, because that's how you're going to protect yourself by these negative vibes and what you feel, your inner.
Yeah, very true. I have a story. It's a quick story. Um, and I deflected. Excuse me, I'm getting myself some water. If you hear water pouring. Um, I had a moment of deflection, and I didn't realize I was doing it until after. But the whole time, I I was seeing this hurt in this girl's eyes. Mm. So what happened was it was, high school was difficult. School was difficult. I'm not going to be specific for me, okay? Because my situation was, different. I went to a performing arts high school, and I'm not like I'm saying many people here could have done the same thing, because there's a lot of talented musicians and artists and stuff in the chat and listening. But I went to this high school, so it was very competitive. It was very competitive. And
Breaking out, amiga.
definitely, can you hear me? Can I be heard now?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna make it real short. Basically, somebody who was troubled by my, you know, success in high school, uh, you like how I said that, huh? Came up to me and had a problem with me. So she came. I was by myself. She was with like four other girls. She came up to me and started telling me, be this, and calling me names to my face. Telling me off, telling me I think I'm, all that, and I'm stuck up and all the stuff, right? Everything that they could possibly say to make me cry, make me upset, make me feel away, make me want to punch her in the face, really. But what I did, and I was just, because it kind of caught me off guard. I was in my own space in my head, so I was kind of observing her. I was observing her show me her anger, and I was deflecting her anger because I didn't absorb it. Because when she was done saying what she was saying, it sounded like she was done. And I asked her, I said, "Are you finished?" And she was like, "Yes, I'm done, And then she still would stay there. And I said, "Okay, I'm out, And I walked away. I'm not one for confrontation when it comes like that. Like, I'm not one to be, if I have a problem with you, let's have a meeting, let's talk about it. We don't have to be so, there doesn't have to be all this animosity towards you. I'll come to you and I'll tell you straight up. But so I felt like, you know what? She needed to say that to me. She had to get it off her chest for some reason. And I felt she felt better after that. And guess what? After I allowed her to speak to me like that, and I wasn't affected by it, but it wasn't in a way where I was dangling it in her face like, haha, you're not pissing me off. Like, it wasn't like that. I asked her if she was finished respectfully, and I walked away. Later that week, we end up having another conversation, and before I know it, she wants to be my friend. And I said, wow, I was
Yeah.
always cautious with her, but I saw what she needed. She needed at that time, she just needed to talk to me. Maybe someone bullied her and hated on her, And so I didn't realize what I was doing at the time, but I just knew I didn't want to get in a fight. I had no reason to,
Yeah.
you know. I didn't seem like she was going to hit me. So I walked away, and it felt really freeing because everyone has a choice. You know, everyone has a choice, even the one getting bullied. You could choose not to be bullied. It's just learning how to deflect those things, you know. And I mean, I'm sure there's other people that have had other experiences that could say they've had other solutions too. I'm just giving you an example of how I, you know, that experience always stays with me because it's a way that I learned that, you know, sometimes you just got to walk away and just allow the person to get it out. And then, you know, because that's I was being her friend and I didn't even realize it. You know, and we weren't friends before that, you know. So it's definitely something that, and I saw one in the chat too. She said something like, there's no excuse. Like when you're adult, when you're a child, you get bullied. That's one thing. But when you're, maybe I'm misquoting what she said, but then she said something. But when you're adult, there's no excuse. You have a choice. You have a choice to bully someone or not because you are an adult, which is I find truth in that too. Because as adults, we should be able to have, you know, that kind of a discerning or logical mind to say that we have a choice. But then again, there are those people that get stuck in their childhood and never get, excuse me, they never get any kind of closure with their
Exactly.
pain and their trauma. And that's what we all need, right? It's like you can tell, like with the way you talk and how I speak to you in the conversations that we had, I can tell your upbringing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like what was present, at least like as far
Mhm.
as like the love, as far as like the caring, as far as like compassion, because those are all traits that you have, you know. And then when you tell me stories about your past and your parents, it confirms all of that because of how they, you know, would how well you took and absorbed the morale and the values, you know, and just the you know, that love that your parents and your family gave you, or you know, at that age, whatever age that was where you received the most love, you know, which could still be now. We could still be now. You're still receiving that love from your parents, you know, from your ancestors, and now those that are around you. And so you are just a reflection of that. And so that's why you have so much love and you could show it. At least with me, like I feel it a lot because that's what I see in you. I see that you're very, yeah, your positivity and all of that really does rub off on me because I feel like I'm also very positive. I try to be very positive. I try to be optimistic and grateful, you know. And those are the things that I see in you too, you know, compassion. All these things are human. Like we need more of this in our connection with people because
Mhm.
social media really does take that from us, you know, like being far away from each other and not being able to, you know, meet for tea or go to the park or go do something together, you know. I don't drink, so I don't go I don't go out at, you know, but you know, it's like rated G things or whatever. But yeah, it's a what can I call it? Like you don't have that personal physical connection as you would if you were, you know, in someone's presence. So that's the challenge of social media. It's like, how are we going to, you know, build a relationship or build trust?
Exactly. No, it's so hard. Talking about trust, it's so hard to get that trust back. You know,
Mm,
when you trust someone
oh yeah.
and you break that trust, it's also hard to get people, you know, to get early. But trust is the most important communication. Are the main key. I think there's one more I always say is the to have a relationship with a husband or a boyfriend or whoever you end up being with. You know, you have to trust them and communicate. But when you don't have that or you lose that, it's very hard to get it back. It's very hard. Even though you try and try, it's very hard.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of lack of communication in this world, to your loved ones, to your children, to your parents. It's so hard. And the communication, again, going back to bullying, that has a lot to do with communication. Communication is the key that we can stop a lot of stuff. But if we try to communicate with that person and they don't want to hear it, then at least you did your part. You know what I'm saying? You try to communicate. And so to me, for my situation, communication and trust is the thing that I have to go by. Because to me, for a relationship, any kind of relationship, if you're married, if you're not, you single, you have a boyfriend, it makes it stronger when you communicate. It makes you work through the problems. It makes you support each other. Once you communicate, it's a big key for a relationship. To my eyes, that's me. Everyone's different, but to me, communication and trust is the key for me.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, taking that trust, trying to give that trust again, it's very hard because you have doubts. You start to think different. It's very sad, because you trust that person. I'm saying for everyone, I'm not saying just for me, but I'm saying for everyone can probably agree what I'm saying. My parents, they always communicated. Yeah, they had their ups and downs, but they always had communicated. And that's one of the key that I learned as a child. I mean, I learned how to cook, of course, clean and all that. Man, by the time I was 13, I already knew all this. And by the time I was, when I was 13, I started to work. So, we all have responsibility as well. And
Yeah.
it's like I said, it comes within what you give, you receive. And what my parents taught, I'm using it for the good, not for the bad, but for the good. I remember I was telling you how my dad was. If he did some on the weekend, because we lived on a ranch, he used to, kill a cow or really a goat. And he used to tell everybody to come over, even those that he'd even know. He used to go out there and just tell them, come over and eat. And we used to have a big old cookout. And that's my dad, and he had a lot of friends, and we didn't even know mostly all of them, but that's my dad, and that's how I take it to give just a little bit. And so I take it from my dad's side. My mom too, she did a lot, but my father was the one that did more to bring the family together as unity family. And my father was the youngest of all, so that's where I got my traits, is for my father. And the traits of my mom, of course, cooking and cleaning. So I have good traits. But the thing is that, I never told my parents I was bullied, in school. But man, when I was a seventh grader, that's when I started to defend myself. I feel sorry for a guy, but oh well. Yes. But I think I told you, right? But
Yeah. That's why I laughed.
yeah, so sometimes I think about it, I'm like, oh my God. But that's what happens when you get bullied, you only can take so much. So when that happened, I felt bad afterwards. But oh well, he asked for it. I always remind me. I haven't seen that guy since seventh grade, so I don't know. But I felt bad afterwards. But again, I was defending myself. and we have to defend ourselves from these bullies. But yeah, yeah.
I think, and I think the closer we get to the truth of things, the root of the truth, Angel, Raven said something pretty funny in the chat. I want to read it because it's true too, and it's funny because
Hey,
you gotta laugh at it. He said,
salud, dirty gringo. Sorry,
"What did you
go ahead.
say?" uh,
There's someone that's called. His name is Dirty Gringo. Hola, salud. Okay,
Dirty
go ahead.
Gringo.
Yeah.
What did he say? Or she? Angel Raven. I'm not sure if it's a he or she, but
Nighty
they say,
night.
they say, este, I've been, they say, I've been down so many rabbit holes that I smell like a musty, pellety rodent that doesn't trust anyone, anything anymore. And then Musicians for Truth says the truth is musty, and I musty books in the Vatican. It's just funny because I find it funny because it's like when you really do search for the truth and not even search for the truth, but you're open to it. So if you're open to the truth, oh, you better be ready because it may be ugly. It may be stinky as heck, and maybe something that you never want to see again, but it's the truth. It's the truth. And so, we have to prepare ourselves. It's not going to be all butterflies and daisies, the truth. It's not. I mean, we see that every single day. The truth is almost more is harder to handle than lies. I mean, yeah, that's why lies exist. Because lies you're it's easier to detach yourself from the emotion. Lies you don't need emotion. But truth, ooh, that's a serious thing there. It's a serious thing. You get wrapped up, and you get your life just you could see yourself so much more when you go through those experiences, going down these rabbit holes, getting close to people, you know, giving people chances or whatever, or even get people giving you chances, but
Mhm.
because they have been betrayed so much in their life, they feel that they could be betrayed by even when you do this something that in my opinion or in my perspective of it, can be communicated and can be something we can work through because we're adults, because we are beyond those childish games of oh, you said this and now I'm never talking to you again. It's like, come on, let's talk about it. What was it that I really said? How did it affect you? Was it really what I said, or was it just because you were really feeling that way in any way in the first place about me? So then just be real with that. Was it something I said, or was it how you felt about me before the thing that I said, and then what I said pushed it over the edge? So we're not adults, we can't talk about it, especially if you're in the same group of friends or the same community or the same family, or you're even in a relationship. You need to have some kind of closure, but you're not always going to be allowed it with the person. You have to deal with it yourself, and that's true growth right there. Because you loved, you opened your heart for someone, you were shocked by the outcome because you couldn't believe that you couldn't communicate the situation, or even anybody came. Some people come to mediate the situation and want to say, hey, let's talk about this because we all care about you. you know there's still that, you have, it's a self-reflective thing, and some people, they aren't ready for that. They're not ready to be adults on every occasion. They'll be adults sometimes when it's convenient for them, but when it comes to being mature, I guess there's a difference between being adult and being mature, right? Because when you're mature, you've actually maybe put yourself in the next person's shoes, had some empathy, compassion, and communication and honesty, because through honesty is where we can build that trust. That's really how you build trust, is through honesty and communication. That's that's really where it's at, and that's hard. That's hard to do, especially on these type of platforms, where we're, well, not these type of platforms per se, but just social media in general. Well, yeah, I guess that's saying the same thing. It's impersonal in a strangely personal way. Because we're telling some of our personal information, giving them, showing photos of ourselves or sharing music and, articles that interest us. It's like we're building relationships on these social media websites with like-minded people. And so why not grow those relationships, right? Only natural. But the reality is, unless you do go make time to go see them and you guys have a meetup or something like that, it really is just, it's a struggle. It's a struggle. It's a struggle to maintain, I think it's a struggle to maintain good relationships through these types of platforms. We're doing our best. And those real people that are really like real within themselves, it'll show. It'll show, You can't deny it. You can't deny it. And some people want to, and that's the self-love thing. The care, tender TLC within yourself. It's like, gotta forgive even yourself. I forgive, oh my goodness, if I ever have any bad thoughts about anyone, or even sad, something that made me sad, someone that made me sad, and I start to feel, tears or whatever, I immediately start to forgive them. But if it's about me, I forgive myself, because that's what we forget to do. And it's not for anyone else. It's for your own self, so that you can get through the next emotion, or you can get through the next, situation where someone may do you wrong, or or you say something that might offend someone, or yeah, maybe you might say something that breaks someone's trust. It's like, how do you develop that trust back? When you really had love for that person, but something happened in circumstance, and it came out, and then what? That's it? Should you cut that friend off cold turkey when they've been there for you night, day, afternoon, twilight, every hour, the 24 hours that they give us? Like, how are you going to do that? You can't just you have to give, if you're going to give people the benefit of the doubt, that includes those people who have hurt you the most. Because if that's what it is, then maybe you need to look in that mirror. Where am I hurt? Where am I hurting myself? What am I doing? What am I doing to betray myself? Or lie to myself? Like, it's hard. It's crucial. It's crucial. It's difficult. You need a support group. You need a support group, even if it's one person. You need to have some, because you don't want to start having those thoughts, like you were talking about, those suicidal thoughts, or thoughts on being malicious on other people, or taking things from people, like their energy, or like their positive vibes, or whatever people do to make themselves forget about their trauma and their sorrows. It's dangerous.
Yep.
It's like a ticking time bomb, right?
Yeah. As I'm saying, you don't know what that person's going through that day, or that morning, or that afternoon, or that night. All that, it's sad. You're just pushing them over the edge.
Hello.
You see
Oh, Wen.
Hi, Juan. Yay,
How
you
are
made it.
you?
I'm doing good.
Hey.
Yeah, I got here
I know I'm late. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
How are you
You're still
guys?
here.
No,
You're
I'm
good.
doing good.
Unless you feels good. It feels good to talk about these things, you know. What are your thoughts about all of this?
Well, about bullies.
Well, you know, you can come with a new topic too, but just to finish off maybe the topic, I don't know.
Well, bullies. I mean, I agree mostly with what I was listening to you guys talk about. Children, you know, they're very much influenced by every little thing that happens, and things that we might not think are big deals are might be to a child. Um, I had an aunt, and rest her soul, she's not here, but um, when we were turning into teenagers, me and my cousin, she would say things like, "Oh, you're going to have thunder thighs," because we were filling out. We weren't big girls. We were becoming a little voluptuous, and she said things like that, and it kind of kicked us in our egos. Um, that's not really bullying, but the point is, you don't know what these children are going through. Now, that's a child. When you become an
Mhm.
adult, and I'm not even talking about the age of 18, because in my mind, as old as I'm getting, you're not mature by the age of 18. I'm not sure. We just, as a society, decide that there's an age when people are all of a sudden grown up and mature and able to make good choices, and that's not the way it is. But by the age of 15 or 16, we as people have felt different feelings, and especially those children that were bullied should at that point be able to make a choice of whether or not they continue on with those acts and that tradition. You know,
Mhm.
when they become full adults and mature, we definitely can make choices not to treat people badly simply because we had a terrible childhood. My childhood sucked. I don't talk about it a lot. I've moved forward, and I know a lot of other people that have done the same. We've all chosen not to bully people, not to abuse our children, and not to treat people like shit. So I guess I agree and I disagree, because I was hearing that because of their childhood and because of this and that, the adults that are still bullies need help. And maybe they do. Maybe they do. I'm not saying they don't. I'd have to walk a mile in every person's shoes. But they have the
Yeah.
maturity level of their mind and heart to know when not to treat somebody like a dog, or like dirt, or like garbage, or make them feel like shit on purpose. So at that point, I say, I don't have a lot for you at that point. If I can go
Yeah.
through the shit that I went through as a child and be okay as an adult, anyone can. And I don't really have anything else to say about it.
Okay. Well, let's change the subject one. So tell me, how's it going with your streaming?
I'm learning.
You're learning.
Yeah, PV is pretty patient.
And
I
I
did
still
my
want
own test.
oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, I
Go
just
ahead.
wanted to say one thing before we change the topic because I think that's very honorable when that you're able to um, you know, uh fight break the pattern because a lot of the time because I was bullied, but I didn't turn into a bully. I
Right.
have sympathy for bullies, you know, though. And I think that there's a type of trauma that bullies go through that I'm unaware of because I didn't become a bully in that way, you know, so I didn't have to go through it. Or I had different, yeah, that the upbringing, there was some influence in my life, maybe because I was so involved with my extracurricular activities that I was doing and school, and I was very much, you know, I was an overachiever and all that. That could have been the distraction for me to even consider, you know, treating someone like that. But
Yeah.
I would never, you know. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I think that people do, as adults, have choices, but sometimes they don't know where to pull from. They have no example. They have no like, they're just lost, like really lost souls. And not like I'm saying I never felt like I was, lost and I had to, really introspect and things like that. But if you can even do that and say, you know what, I need to do some introspection, I need to meditate, I need to reevaluate my life because I don't want to be that way. That's not how I want to be. I don't want to argue with my husband because that's all I heard growing up, you know. But sometimes it's inevitable.
You're
You
cutting
really,
out, Empress.
sorry. Last thing I'm going to say, sometimes it's inevitable that you argue and fight. I'm not saying that we have to live in a perfect world with no fighting and no, screaming and arguing, disagreeing. That's not what I'm saying at all. But we do, like you said, we do as adults, as mature. See, there's a difference, I think, between adults and maturity because I've met some adults that are very immature and they're still working on their maturity. But those that are mature may not all be fully adults yet. Like I've seen children that are very mature, and that treat people with more respect than I've seen adults treat, other people. So, to me, it's like you're kind of you have to have that balance of adult and maturity in order to, not be an
Well,
adult bully.
let me ask you this then.
Yeah.
How do you explain the people and kids, and some of them are children, teenagers, that have very good upbringings with very loving parents and still turn out to be horrible, like the Mean Girls,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the movie Mean Girls. Those
Yeah.
girls had everything. They were raised in a loving environment. Their moms wanted to be friends. They
Do you
were horrible freaking
But do you
people.
think so? Do you think so though? I mean, a lot of these rich kids grow up with their nannies as their moms. Like their parents are hardly around. And I'm just saying that there's both. There's like you can't you're right. You're right though. But I feel like a lot of these mean girls are coming by from those ones that are lacking that attention from their parents. So what do? They go outside to grab the attention. And how do you get attention? They bully people. That's a good way to get attention. And so it could be hunky dory, everything seems fine at home, but they still have this deep down animosity for their parents because they're never around or because they may give them everything they want, but material only lasts so long. So I'm not giving them excuses. I'm just like seeing the different scenarios. But it's true. It's like how if someone comes in a loving raising home and they're rich and all this, can they? Do they have the capability of being compassionate, genuine people and empathetic? I think so. I think it all has to do with your upbringing and your influence, and your parents have a huge part in it. That's where you learn maturity, really, is through your parents. I mean, in my opinion. But I think that's a very good question because you're right. It's like those bullies that are mean girls that get everything they want. Who knows if they were really loved or if they were just loved with gifts, and material things because that's how they, you know, that's easily accessible for their parents to do for them and not have to pay that much attention. But we can go on and on about it. There's so many ways that people could be um, raised and become you know there's so much trauma because that even still is a maybe be somewhat of a stable home what we may think, but then again we don't really know what everyone's going through, unless we ask them and have a conversation with them, a real conversation with them. And yeah, but I think that's something good to point out too, is it's not always just the ones that come from broken homes can be mansions too. You're right, absolutely.
I agree with Just Call Me Webb.
Mhm.
So I don't think environment's an excuse. Most of us know right from wrong, and we all have a choice. And that's the truth. Child or not, we have a choice. Now, young children, they probably mimic their parents. Most kids do.
Mhm.
But we hit that age and we know right from wrong, and we know not to treat people like crap, and people choose to do it anyway, mostly because it's accepted in society. It's okay to be a bully nowadays.
Yeah. Sometimes even glorified. And
Mhm.
now with these crisis actors, I don't know why I thought of that, but that's kind of a form of bullying because you're trying to
Yep.
fool the masses, you know, and,
Yep.
you know,
And then,
yeah, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, and then the crisis actors, and then they turn around and slander other people that are trying to get to the bottom of the truth because, you know, I guess they're paid. I don't know. Maybe they're just mean people. I don't know.
Well, they're usually paid. These crisis actors are definitely paid. They're
Yeah.
like, it's just like a regular extra acting job,
So they
you know.
treat people like shit over money.
Mm-hmm. Money's the root of that, you know. I don't want to say evil, but of the hands of the evil maker.
Hmm.
Did I say that right?
Yeah.
The evil hands of the maker. I think that's what I meant to say. Something like that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you know, the psychology is deep. The psychology is deep,
Yeah.
especially because that's part of it, the money. You know, how do they have a grasp on people because of money, of our of your choices. They're like, oh, here are two choices. This one has money behind it. This one doesn't. But the one that has money is, you know, not very positive. The one that doesn't have money is very positive and heartfelt. Most people are going to go for the money one. It doesn't matter what kind of, you know, heartless stuff they have to do. That's why all these actors and all these people in Hollywood and stuff are making so much money. And we're just
Yeah.
a lot of us are naive to the fact that they have sold themselves to this, you know, how do I even call it? Like, um, debaucherous, you know, just distractive and just, you know, disharmonious uh, careers. And these are the people that are influencing the youth and who are going to pay money to watch movies where these people are in. We're supporting their careers when all they're doing is, you know, is just being crisis actors basically, but on a higher scale, you know. It's just crazy.
Musician has a point.
What do you say?
There's a lot of snowflakes in the world too that claim they're bullied and they're just hypersensitive. I agree with that.
True. And that's also another form of trauma when you're hypersensitive. It's a psychological thing because you're not born with hypersensitivity. And I believe not. I believe, well, maybe, okay, so what do you believe? So maybe the it's hereditary in some way from your ancestral lineage, these hypersensitivities, you know, because I have hypersensitivities, but I'm not no snowflake. You know, I don't go crying wolf because I know that will hurt me in the long run. You know,
Well, I
I'm
understand what he's saying because I have an employee. I'm actually going through this with this employee currently and have been for a while. I don't normally talk about work a whole lot unless I'm bashing the GMO place, but um, the girl, um, if you even try to talk to her about her performance or the job she's doing, she runs off crying wolf that she's being bullied, that
mm,
whoever's talking to her is racist, that she's being picked on. So I understand what he's saying about snowflakes,
yeah, that
big
makes
time,
sense. Yeah.
firsthand. And I can promise on everything, I have never said a word out of line, nor any other supervisor to this young lady. And she will cry wolf every time that someone has said something out of line to her,
Mm-hmm.
just because
Yeah.
she doesn't want to be coached. She doesn't want to be told, Any kind of
Mhm.
constructive criticism. And there's a lot of people like that. A lot of people
Yep.
like that.
Facts.
True.
Yes.
And just so you know, on top of your theory, the girl did have a very messed up childhood because she's talked about it.
Um,
So if that's connected, maybe it is.
psychological.
Maybe it
Yeah.
is. Her mom gave her away. She was put up for adoption, and then she was
Abandonment.
and then she was raised in foster homes.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
she's grown now, and that doesn't give her the right to try to make other people have problems because
Mm.
she wants to fib and be a snowflake. I love that word.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But at the same time, it's up to her if she really wants to heal from, if she even thinks she has a problem
No,
for
she
her.
doesn't. She
And
thinks she is a victim all the way through in her heart and soul, I can tell. She
yeah.
really does.
So I think, in my opinion, I think it's going to take a really, really good friend of hers to bring it up. But that's difficult. That's a difficult conversation to have with someone like that because you're just going to fall right back into, oh, but and if you don't
Exactly.
see yourself, that's the thing, is that you can't see yourself, then yeah, you have no right to be calling, crying wolf every 10 minutes. You know, if you can't see yourself and you have to say, okay, now where am I going to grow from here? You're not interested in your own growth. You'll get stuck, and that's what I meant by when your childhood issues um, affect you as an adult, especially if you haven't dealt with them during your life, like every single day, every week, or every experience you have. If you can't find yourself, growing through the experiences, all those lessons that you learn, heartache, heartbreak, if you can't get back, rise back up into that light that you were once in before, or beyond that. That's when you get to go beyond that, is when you can go back into that light instead of sulk and stay in that low vibration. And that's what it seems like, she's in that low vibration. She can't even see she has a problem or she has, any kind of emotional issues. Um, when you can establish that and you can recognize that, I think that's part of growth right there. First step. Okay, I have a problem. Why do I have a problem? With my childhood trauma. Okay, well, what happened? You have to go through the steps. It's not going to happen overnight. So, and she's already an adult, so it's going to take even more work because of you have to go back to when you're a child and then go through your whole life. And it's like, well, you need a serious therapy session, with whomever. I'm not advocating psychiatrists or anything like that. I'm just saying your best friend can be your, person you can talk to, or your mother, or whatever. It's like, yeah. And then what did Christoph said? He said bullies. He said Christopher said, what if the bullies are also hypersensitive? And I think, you know what? There's some truth behind that too. They could be hypersensitive, and that's why they get, upset so fast. Because you can have that kind of hypersensitivity too, where you're just on a drop of a dime, you're so angry or you're aggressive, and where the other example is crying and crying wolf and blaming everyone and saying you're the victim, so there's definitely, those are all emotions too. Yeah, those are all hypersensitive. Those can be hypersensitivities. Yeah, that's definitely there's extremes in both regards, in all regards. You just don't know.
Yeah.
So should we
It's
talk about
you talk about what?
Oh, no. I just see people talking about fluoride in the chat.
Speaking of fluoride, I know it calcifies our pineal gland. I wonder if it does something to the emotional, empathy level that we have as people, because it seems like the empathy level has dropped dramatically since I was a child.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Never looked into it. It was just a thought.
Well, have you seen that virtual reality video where they show that that's where they're going to see if maybe virtual VR can help humanity get in touch with their empathy more. So instead of using virtual reality as like a video game where you going and traveling and doing things, whatever, they're using it to tap into people's different perspectives about things and their empathy. So I thought it was pretty fascinating that they were going there with it, because you're putting on this virtual reality and you're looking at someone's life through their eyes, with this VR. I just think it's fascinating.
Have you read about the psychiatrists wanting to use psilocybes to cure mental illnesses and depression and anxieties?
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah,
find that pretty interesting.
definitely. Definitely. I think there's a lot of truth behind that as well. It's very shamanic. It's old medicine. It's ancient medicine that we're you know I want to say we're being allowed to tap into it now because it's on the mainstream now. You know, it's on social media more now. I see it on the feeds and things like that. But yeah, I think there's a lot of truth behind that. Um, yeah, it's a good thing to look into more and to do more research on in general, just so we know what else that it's good for. You know, because you don't know what kind of cell building, things that could happen. Maybe it's good for your kidneys. Maybe it's good for your, other organs that we're still discovering these things. Like with cannabis too, they've discovered all these new things about raw cannabis as opposed to dried cannabis or
Yeah,
or heated cannabis, like when you burn it. The raw cannabis has really high healing properties and no psychedelic, activity, no psychedelic side effects. And it heals and cures so much. I mean, the list is endless. And it's just that research, all of these plants are really closely related to our healing, you know.
yeah.
I know Katz knows about that. That's a specialty of yours.
What? What?
Just
Healing?
healing plants and, just knowing how to find them. And they're just natural, around. Because it's not just those types of plants, it's like weeds that grow on the side of your road too that could really help you. We just don't know. We're ignorant. There's a lot of people ignorant to these types of things.
Yeah, we're not taught that stuff. Not for
Hmm.
the most part, not unless we seek it out.
Yep. There's so many plants. So many. I finally went to a vitamin. Well, it's not a vitamin store. It's like a health store. Sprouts. Do you guys have Sprouts out there?
Me?
Anyone?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do.
Okay. Well, I went and I finally found the tea, Mentos tea, and I drank one yesterday. My God, it's good for a lot of things. If um, I forgot what it was, but it's good for you. It fights I think if I'm correct, like if you're sick with the flu or something. I know FPV mentioned it, and I have websites that I can go into it, but it's really, really good. You can use it as put it in your soup, drink it as a tea, you know, really good. And then I know the mulberry leaves, make it into tea. It's also good to stop any kind of sickness. Also it's good for like the flu. You know, we just have to search which plants and the trees. I know that if you boil lemon leaves orange leaves and boil them as tea. Those are also good, and it's all natural. So yeah, there- there's a lot of things that we can, use and eat and drink from it. So yeah, I put some link, and I think I'll put them in the other Hangout, the other Discord one. But yeah, there's a lot of good links out there. And not only that, the Native Americans, they also used a lot of the herbs that was from the land, natural. They used it a lot too, which that's where it comes from, from them to learn which plants to eat as well. It comes so many years past. They pass it to their generations, and that's how I found out from my dad. But yeah, I recommend everybody go look into all that, what to eat, um, the weeds that are in your front and backyard, what to eat. Um, some of them you can eat just the root, not the top, but the root. Wash it and eat it just like a carrot. Or you can use it, in the soup or whatever you want to make it, but it's good for you. And these weeds are the best thing for your health. A lot of times our government says they're weeds, right? You got to knock them, you got to take them out of your yards, but it's because they don't want us to know what kind of weeds that we can use for our healing, to heal our bodies. So everyone cuts them because they think it's weeds, right? But in reality, it's food for us as well. There's a lot of things. I hope I could do a hangout and have Wiz come on, and I think one, what's her name, knows about it too.
Oh, and
Uh,
fíjate too, amiga.
huh?
And just think about it. We have wild grown things, medicinal herbs all over the world. Like every continent has continent. Who called it that? You know what I mean? Every land, like every piece of different origins of people, these places have herbs that heal, like the moringa tree. Where did that originate? I mean, who could say where these plants really originated? But like the baobab tree, like I know that's for, in Africa. There's these different places all over the world, these different herbs and trees, and they you can't even find them here. Or different types of honey that have psychedelic effects, because they feed on a psychedelic plant blossom. And so when you harvest the honey, you go on a psychedelic trip. I don't know if you guys heard of that, but that's it somewhere in, I think in Thailand, I believe. And so when you said that, when you're like, yeah, we learned from the Native Americans, here, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, but that's just here. What about all over the world? Like there's
Yeah.
healing plants in every place that we possibly, and maybe even places we couldn't even imagine, like the so-called, you know,
The
you know,
Amazon.
well, the Amazon have the most. I was gonna say like the you know, the the icy places in the world. I'm not trying to say the poles. I'm trying to stay away from using, globe terminology. Um, but the icy regions even have, you know, plants that you either dig under the snow for, or there's certain trees that live through those climates, or plants that can survive because that's how, Creator has gifted us with all of these things. All of us, not just here or there, either or. It's like we all have these blessings, we all have these gifts just growing from our ground. And it's just the awareness, the lack of ignorance of what these, what we can do with these things. And I feel like here in America, we're way more wasteful. And those people that are in other countries, they call third world country, quote unquote, third world countries, they're a bit, but I know, I mean, I've been I've only been to, you know, I've only traveled a little bit, but where I've been has I've seen how people do use and utilize the things, their resources as much as possible. Um, you know, where we would be, I would see things a bit more wasteful, you know, where I am, you know, not using everything. I mean, there's places like Oregon and, you know, in places in Northern California, and there's some towns that really, you know, are trying to do the reusable jars and the bulk bins and, you know, all these things so that you can really sustain the environment, have a sustainability um, about using, you know, using everything and being um, tribal with it, you know, just using everything of the plant that you have, or, you know, not being wasteful. I think that we could learn some things from people in different, you know, places and different origins. Um, that's why I would like to travel, you know, because it really does make you humble. It humbles you, humility, all those things, because you're presenting yourself in a different culture. But I think it's really important for us as Americans to, but not like I'm saying culture doesn't come to us, but it's another thing to say we go out there and we put our hands in the dirt and we, you know, try to cook our own meals where it's not, we don't have the stove and the fridge and everything set up like we do. You know, they have a bit more. There's places, you know, where you have a bit more, there's a bit more work that needs to be done to get the same result or a similar result. I mean, even not even the result to that. You just get one big bowl of rice. You really had to work hard to get that water to boil the rice. You know? So yeah, it's interesting. It made me think on a whole worldly vibe how blessed we are with all these medicinal herbs and I think that's a great idea. I'm being long-winded, but I'm ready to hear your friend who has all this information on herbs and you know I love talking about the healing properties of things and food and yeah, I'm really into it too. The healing vibration of water, how important that is. Water is so healing, especially if you have the high vibration in your heart. All your water is going to be like gold, like you're drinking golden water. Or, you know what I mean? Like that's what it makes me feel when we really, you know, need to learn about these things, and the simplest things can be our biggest healer, you know? Yeah. But I
Yeah.
stopped for the back.
So yeah. So what's your take, one about the healing plants? You know.
Man, we should totally learn that stuff when we're growing up. I mean, there's so many things that just grow, like she was saying. I mean, right out there in your ditch, backyard, and you wouldn't even know it. I remember when I was a kid, there was this guy that was friends with my parents, and he would literally go outside and gather like bark and all this weird stuff and put it in a pan of water and boil it, and he would drink the water. And I thought he was the weirdest person in the world. And now I think he was probably wiser than most. You know, I don't know what tree bark he was using or whatever. I was a young child, like I said, but we don't learn that stuff. So I thought he was weird. We need to do that.
Yeah.
What is it? The Himalayas. Oh, in the middle of when I was looking at mountains, I think all the different mountains and stuff. The Himalayas have like 72 found elements in their land and countless trees that all have healing properties that the people to this day around those villages still go up and harvest to use for their medicines and stuff. You know, that's how we should be doing things. Learn that stuff.
Yeah.
If this world goes to shit, what are we going to do? You know, how are you going to survive? How are you going to heal a cut, a burn? You know, what are you going to eat if you can't find food? These are all things that we should know. We're too busy going to work and being good little slaves to learn how to take care of ourselves. You know, if we didn't have to go to work
Yeah,
because of the stinking ass monetary system, we would have 40 extra hours a week to learn about herbs and how to fend for ourselves and survive without this, system taking care of us.
that's what they want. They want us to depend on the system if something goes on wrong here around the world. And we shouldn't depend on that. We should already know how to do the survival techniques to be on your own, when that time comes. But yeah, I was telling somebody, I don't remember the other day, how to catch a fish. I said, all you do is make a hole in the end, make a hole, a deep hole, and water comes in, and the fishes will go in there, and that's how you could catch fishing. Oh, I was telling someone here around where I live, and she was really. I said, yeah, that's how you could catch a fish too, and that's a easy way to catch them. So yeah, that's a good thing to do too when you go fishing. You can make a big hole, and the water will come in, but yet the fishes will go in as well, and that's how you catch them. So
And here's a addition just to add to that. I seen this one time where they put a 5-gallon jug, like a water jug, and they cut holes in it. So the fish went inside the jug, although everything was submerged in water, all the fish got trapped in the jug. So then all they had to do was pull the jug out and they had already all the fish caught. But the same technique you were talking about, put a hole and then like kind of make like a I don't know, would you make a hole like a path from the water to there, or would you just make a hole? Because where I've seen it, they made the hole like at the end of the watering, I
yeah,
guess the lake or whatever, and then inside that hole, they cut holes, but only holes big enough for the fish to swim in, and then they couldn't escape from they were just too full in there, And I was like, wow, these people could fish, like they caught like 20 fish right there in a. Like, wow, that's clever.
Yeah.
yeah,
Or
it
what
is.
about those baskets that you just use sticks and you make the little basket shape so when the fish swims in they can't get back out?
Yeah. Now it's
Yeah.
roots.
Yeah.
Do you know how
Yeah.
to make one of those ones?
No, I've watched it on those
Oh,
survivals, but I've never
yeah.
tried it myself. I don't think it would be very hard. It didn't look very
Uh-uh.
hard.
Yeah. I'd want to try and make one just so I know I can make
We all should.
some.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right. We all should be doing this in our spare time just
Mhm.
in case we ever needed these skills. How many people can make a fire? Like honestly, just out of wood.
Yeah,
I do.
I can too.
Well, I can too. But
But yeah, no, we're all but
of
now it's teaching
normal,
our
like
youth.
just
Yeah.
everyday people, how many people could build a fire for themselves or build a hut that would withstand elements to be able to shelter themselves, or even a teepee, something simple? How many people could build a teepee?
Yes.
You know,
Oh, I've built a teepee before too. That
I
was
have to.
powerful. Man, that's powerful, isn't it? You're like,
Yeah,
you gotta get those
it was
sticks,
just,
those
yeah.
poles right. You gotta get the first 3 in and then the rest, and you put them in. Yeah,
Well, we
wow.
did it as a group in
Yeah.
school, and
Oh,
so we all put our pole, where
oh,
it needed to go. So we all took turns putting different poles until it was built. It was really neat. It was a bonding thing,
cool.
you
Yeah,
know.
building the womb.
Yeah.
I mean, this could be ideas for future streams, where we can share our cameras and
Yeah.
we can be building the same thing. We can each be building a fire, or building
Yeah.
a hut or doing one of these things so that we can show, hey, look, we can do it. Let's all try it, or here it is for later so you can see it later. Like, I don't know, these.
Tom said how to make a canoe. Exactly.
canoe.
What if
My
it
goodness.
floods again, or we need
I
to
want to
get
make
from
a.
A to B?
I don't know how to make a canoe. That'd be dope. I know how to maneuver a canoe, but I don't know how to make one. That's
Well,
crucial. I
how
mean,
about even just a basic raft? A canoe might be a bit advanced. How many people could make a basic raft that wouldn't sink?
yeah,
You know,
tying all those things together,
the grid
finding the
goes
right
down.
trees. Hmm.
We need to be able to travel still. So we won't have our cars for long.
And then how will we make the path?
You know,
That's the next feat.
that,
Go ahead, Kat. Go ahead, I mean.
out of wood, you could do the, you know,
Yeah, but what
and
about your tools? Like, what kind of tools? See, then that's like, well, you're prepared, or how prepared are you? Or would you just, like, I've seen the videos of these guys making things out of just their resources around you, like a pool. They make a pool with a hut, and they just use bamboo. They're not even using not I was gonna say swords, knives, or axes or anything. They just have a rocks, and they have like baskets to carry the dirt out and stuff. I don't know if anyone's seen these videos. These guys, they're amazing. It's like these two guys. I think it's like maybe they're from I don't know where. Maybe I said Thailand already. Maybe they're from Bali, Indonesia, something like this, a tropical zone. And I've seen them build swimming pool. I mean, different styles of swimming pools, and like beautiful too, like really aesthetically pleasing. And just they even like fill up the water one little bucket at a time. They go, it takes them forever to fill up this pool, but they don't ever give up, and they make that so fast. I can't even believe it. I admire people that can do that, and barefoot and with just what they have, you
Yeah.
know, no tools. So it's like we could challenge each other, and we could say, okay, this challenge is with no tools. How if how well can we get it done?
There
Or if we
was
can have
that.
one tool,
There
I'm
was
sorry.
that one. No, I'm sorry. There was the one show where those two guys would get, put somewhere in the wild, and sometimes they would even like put on different scenarios. Like one of them broke their leg, and they have to survive for 3 days and find their way out of the woods to meet their pickup point. Stuff like that. Can't remember the name of it right now. It was on TV few years ago. Did you guys ever see it?
mm-mm. No, I haven't.
Anyway, I thought it was really neat. I used to like it. I thought it was cool. And they would have to do everything. They didn't have anything. They would just put them out there like they had been going for a hike, a walk, and now you're screwed. Here you go.
Hey, Juan, can you put your channel in your the chat room so everybody can subscribe? Hit that bell because you get the streaming.
Yeah.
Everybody in chat, sub one. She'll be streaming soon. Sub to her account, her channel.
Yeah. I streamed the other night for a little while.
Wow. You had a good turnout the other day.
Yeah, I was surprised. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, it was good. I'm like, what? She's on live? What? I'm like, if you read something, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So yeah,
He was on there
they
too.
come. Yeah, he was. I know.
I kept bugging him till he got on. It's like, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready?
Well, at least he was there to help you. You know.
Yeah. And today we figured out how to do it like this, like you do it. I had no idea
Oh,
how. Yeah. I only knew how to use OBS.
see, I download OBS and I just I went through it, but I need help to go through and set up the OBS to connect to YouTube and to Discord.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I have to learn that hopefully soon.
FPV could probably show you pretty quick. He showed me pretty quick.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it'll be good.
Yeah, I think that way I don't have to worry about anything. So, so just give me a little bit what you guys, because I had to leave. Remember I told you I was working. But tell me how did it go afterwards, or what was your topics on that hangout that you guys had?
Yeah. Oh, we just went over, oh my gosh, we went over so much little stuff. Stuff from the past of our work. It went on for a while. I didn't expect it to be that long. But it was fun. There was a lot of people that I had never seen in my chat before.
Those are the ones that subbed you, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
a
good.
couple people did. And I got my missing subs back, so, because kept losing subs here and there. And then they'll come back and then they'll leave. And it's like, not even that big of a channel to mess with.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it did a good turnout. I'm glad. But yeah, it's you guys do a lot of research, and I'm glad you guys do. You put your time, especially you work for 40 hours. One, you work so hard, and you come home, you still continue to do your research with FPV. Of course, we know Sandra's part of it a little bit, but you and FPV, you guys research really good. You know.
Yeah, it's kind of slowing down. It's tapering off now.
Yeah. Well,
Not a lot else left to really do.
there'll be more to come, I'm pretty sure. I mean, things are happening that has to line up with the Nazca lines and what you guys been doing on research. Things will fall in its place again. What's going on now? I'm pretty sure a lot of it has to do with the halos and stuff. But like like they say in Mexico and what part? I think it's Mexico DF, or well, a couple of places, states in Mexico, they got that water. What is it? That hurricane. They got part of it, and it flooded a lot of places. And I think it's the same storm. I think that hit the UK. Is it? Is it or isn't it? But they had that strong wind.
I'm
Yeah,
not
well,
sure.
Mexico is right there. I mean, well, see, the thing is that those storms, they don't just stay and put. They do their best to steer them, but storms still gonna happen. And a lot of, I don't know if that happened because it was what, North Carolina, Virginia, that region over there. It's kind of on the other side of Florida, right? Was it a different hurricane that you're talking about? That I don't know, but I didn't know about.
I don't know. I think the one that hit North Carolina went and hit the UK. Mexico's the other way.
Yeah, I know about that hurricane or that storm in the UK. Oh, wow, I didn't know it's because of that.
But it could be. I don't know. I haven't really followed it, honestly. I just know that it hit and it did quite a bit of damage. Prayed for the people
Yeah.
there.
No, our heat, our weather, I think tomorrow's 99, the next day is 98, but at night it's like 75, so it's cooling down at night, you
Yeah.
know. And I'm glad. But I still have my AC on though, because it's hot during the day. So it's crazy. But at least my bill's not that high, because I keep it like in 78, 79, 78, around there. And it keeps it cool.
It feels like
So
it's been hotter this year than other years. Maybe we're in the middle of a heat cycle. I don't know, but it seems like it has been really hot where I'm at this year, even for
really?
summer. Yeah, and our humidity's stayed between 85 and like 95% almost all summer. It's been so hot. There was days that I couldn't even walk outside without feeling like I had liquid in my lungs. I mean, literally, it was just so thick.
Oh wow. Compared to last year, you mean?
Hmm. Yeah, compared to a lot of years. I mean, I don't really recall it being humid like this. Not this bad. Maybe it was, but it's been really bad this year.
Yeah.
I gotta
We
get
hit
out.
over hundreds, and we don't normally get quite that hot. Not in Illinois.
Yeah. What was that, Empress? Sorry.
Oh no, I was just, it made me think of, you know, how some places may need oxygen masks. I mean, Amazon sells these oxygen masks in styles, like different styles and stuff. I was actually shopping them, because I have my little prep kit, getting like, kids ones, and I'm thinking, I wonder if they have one that is like a dehumidifying mask.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? That would be, phew, that would
It'd be
save your
helpful.
lungs.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I could hear it in your lungs, like, it's like you're, you need a break. Your lungs
Hmm.
need a break.
Well, my breathing is so messed up from where I work. It's that GMO factory. I work in one
Oh,
of the biggest GMO factories worldwide, and the corn dust and the soybean dust from them grinding it up to make it and distill it into different things, high fructose corn syrup, cornmeals. And by the way, I would really think twice about eating that stuff after I've been through these plants because it's disgusting.
Mm,
It's disgusting.
that's
Plant
wild. You get to
floods.
see it firsthand.
Yeah, the plant will flood because the pipe will break, okay? And
Oh,
all this corn dust and stuff that's going to go into making food, they put it in piles on the floor with
oh,
like fork
God.
trucks, okay? So you're walking through it and it'll flood and then it's all just kind of floating along in this nasty wastewater stuff.
What?
Then it'll dry out. This is no joke. I've sent videos to our Hangouts chat of this stuff.
Oh my goodness.
And it'll dry out and they will go ahead and use it. In the meantime, all the doors are open. This is a big, massive factory. I mean, huge. This factory is huge. And the flies, you walk through it, and it's kind of like that scene in Amityville 3D. Have you ever seen that movie? Up in the attic, the fly
not me.
scene where the whole room fills with flies and like start going down the guy's eyes and down his throat and in his ears, and it's crazy and
Ew.
disgusting. And that's how it is when you walk through this stuff that becomes our food.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Wow.
So is this what they make maseca out of? Do you know what maseca is?
I don't know,
Well,
but basically anything that is GMO'd, soybeans,
Or corn?
corn, yeah, that's what they
Oh,
do over
that's
here. They do
maseca.
in Illinois, we are soybean and corn land, and we have
Wow.
Actually, we have two of the biggest GMO factories in the world. We have one called Archer Daniels Metal and Company, which is ADM, and we have Tate and Lyle. Tate and Lyle does soybeans, and ADM does corn.
Oh,
It's weird that no one hasn't done anything though to stop it, huh?
They love it, and it stinks so bad, and it's horrible. And people are like, "Oh yeah, that's the smell of money," and I'm like,
oh
"That's the smell
God.
of death. That's not
Wow.
the smell of money." But everybody, they love it because it's back to that money thing. I don't care what I do to people as long as I'm bringing home the big bucks.
Right. That's what I would call
Mhm.
true blood money. The
Yeah,
blood money, it was when you have, that's all money. I
yeah.
remember I wrote one of the first like reggae songs I wrote. That was one of the lines. Deep song. I blood money just for, for what? To live? To survive? Like what are we doing? You know? Why are we allowing this to happen? And is it really us? Why I say we? Because I'm a responsible one. I'll take the blame. Like what can I do to make it not so? To make it not so that my youth or any youth ingest this kind of thing. But you're right. It's like the money is the matter of this whole, this system that we're in. It's like we bleed these what are we going to start bleeding now, it's like if the money is causing that, it's like what are we doing, why are we living? That's why AI and the robots and the androids and all of that is coming like fast, because they don't have no blood. They're just make money. They don't you don't need to patch them up. You recycle, you make more money. And so, wow, I don't know if anyone's seen, and this is a shout out to the HOTC, Sean Heidman. He just made him and a couple of other guys, Brandon and Theo. They made a pretty intense video. Wow, it brought tears, because it was heavy, heavy truths in this video. It's called The Realm of the Gods. And it's along the lines of what I'm talking about with the androids and what's to come with this whole AI thing, and what our children's and our future children's children are going to be dealing with. Not us per se, but our lineage, are going to be faced with all of this. So, wow, where can we, how can we? I'm always thinking, how can we make solutions? But wow, we're so stuck.
Well, that's if the world makes it. The way they're fracking and everything. I don't know. I mean, they could set off some kind of crazy catastrophe by what they're doing.
Well, it's like
Mhm.
mini catastrophes everywhere.
There are.
Mhm.
I've looked at earthquakes for a long time, but
Yeah.
we have more. It seems like now we used to have bigger ones less often. Now we have earthquakes all the freaking time, like all the time, constantly. It's insane, and a lot of them are very big, and they're fracking volcanoes, and they're fracking the biggest fault line in the United States. Well, one of them, the New Madrid, and they're fracking Yellowstone and all this, the other super volcano. What is that? Mammoth Mountain over in California.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Fracking that. They're fracking South America, all up and down the coast where it's nothing but volcanoes. Makes you wonder why.
Yeah, but that video you get, Empress, do you have the link and just put it in chat? Because it's a really good video. I mean, HOTC, Sean did do a really good job. I saw it already, and it's good. A good vid that he did. Very interesting, and it's all about robots, And it's like I put a message there saying, how do we know who's real and who's a machine, right? People walking among us. But it's a good video.
I could see that. When I went to Chicago for work not too long ago, there were a few people behind the hotel desk, waiting on people. There was this one lady, and I swear I could have she just seemed so lifeless. Like she really did. I really thought to myself, this woman acts like she has no soul. She has just, she's like, she was a robot. Like no emotion whatsoever. It was really weird. It was just unlike, and I mean, a lot of people can turn their emotions off, but this was different. And it was just one out of all the different people that were behind that counter.
Wow.
It was just weird.
Yeah, but because we don't even know who they are, right, among us. And, sometimes people date a robot, a machine. But the thing is that we don't even know. But this video shows a lot of good things in it. Awesome. Yeah, it's a 30 minutes long, but it's worth seeing that.
Yeah, I'll check it out when we're done for sure. Thank you.
Good. You'll like it.
Yeah, what was I gonna say? Yeah, it's just letting people know it is 32 minutes, something like that. But just try not to have it interrupted so you can just get the gist of it and on one dose, because the spoken and the visuals, wow, it's really powerful. So, and it's to prepare us, really, not to some fear. And at first I didn't, I wasn't, you have so many outlets that are trying to just fear porn, or what they call it, where they're just trying to make you fearful of doing things, like going outside your house and walking around barefoot outside or whatever. Fear porn. It's like we need to prepare our senses. All the people that are hypersensitive right now, if they can't start, if they need to toughen up, and those lessons in their life, they need to write those lessons down and learn from those to get to that tougher spot, or else they're gonna get lost in the wilderness, and get left behind and used for spare parts. I mean, it's real. It's real. It's real. It's almost 2020. Something's going down in 2020.
Yeah.
Like, so
Yeah, it's
not a laughing
this
matter
year,
either. I'm not trying to laugh, so.
this is the 70 years of atonement. And
Atonement?
the thing, yeah,
Yeah.
did I say
Atonement.
it?
No, I didn't know if you said anointment. Anointment or atonement? Anointment.
Anointment.
Yeah. I thought you said anointment. I was like,
Yeah, so,
yeah.
things can happen. And then 2020 is the 70-year of, I think it's Jubilee. And, yeah, something is it's in the waters, I'm going to say it that way, because whatever they're planning against us, it's me, But yeah, survival is the best thing to know at this moment. Learn how to shoot, learn how to throw an arrow, learn how to throw a knife, because you get so, but learn all the survivals, what to have prepare, Like your water, everything, pre-packed food. Like, what are they called? I mean, the kind that the astronauts cook or use. But there's also, I forgot the name of it. Called shoot, they sell like a bulk of like a big old tub of food
Freeze,
that
do
doesn't
freeze
go
dried?
bad. Yeah,
The freeze
that.
dried food. Yeah. Yeah. They have, you can get, you can get that kind of stuff. You can get, I have a vegan, gluten-free, but I have a couple of them. Bins. I got some survival food that's like fruit and veg. You gotta just, I went in, there was a time where I had to get those things, and um they're good actually. I tried it, and there's like black bean burgers and like black bean soup, and it's survival food, and it's going to be protected in the casing, so that the radiation is also you know detracted or dispelled, so that your food doesn't have all this radiation in it if that were to happen. So it's like we need to prepare ourselves for that too. Get our energetic armor, our energetic armor fields and shields to protect our own hearts,
Mhm.
and our organs. It's like we
Yeah.
gotta get one of those X-ray. When you go get X-rays and they put that big magnet thing on you, we just have to like get magnet bodysuits or something.
They probably sell them.
Yeah. Hey, not a bad idea. Yeah, so flat stuff Earth says that the quickening is too real for Stuffy. That's what he said, or she. Yeah, it's real. It's a real heavy reality of where are all of this AI is going and what's planned. It's it's definitely their artistic expression of it, for sure. But there's the things that you can research yourself and see that that's where we're headed. And just what to look out for.
Yeah, I
Being
agree.
prepared psychologically, emotionally. That's still being prepared too, right? Yeah.
And start getting to physical shape because you're gonna need it, honestly.
Oh yeah. Physical shape,
Because
mental exercise,
you know.
even
Yeah.
fasting. I'm sorry, Amita. Go ahead.
Well, I have a friend. We don't live far from here, and she works 2 jobs, so she sleeps in her car. She she has a brand new car. Okay. And I wanted you to go stay with your mom and your grandma, and she said that the reason why she stays in her car, she drinks hot water, she eats food that is very hot, bad, you can say. And she said the reason why she's doing that is because she's training her body to have in her system to fight, I guess, to like, what is it? Uh, so if something happens, her body already observed some of the stuff that you have to eat, outside, like say a garbage can and stuff like that. Is it because she just wants to be, if she has to leave, she's just gonna leave and sleep in her car and do whatever she has to do to survive. And I told her, you need to learn how to survive through plants, you know, because that's what gets you through too. But she's crazy. She's all crazy. Right. But yeah, she sleeps in her car and she eats whatever she can find, and she's trying to train her body to eat, stuff that's not good for you, basically. But that's her way of survival, I guess. Don't know. But anyways, I know it's 3 hours already. I'm just gonna go ahead and shut it. One, I appreciate you came on.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been a long time, girl. I
Yeah.
haven't done.
I know you haven't
I
been
was
around.
Oh, I know. You know, I try to keep my mind busy. I have to, but I know I miss everyone, like everyone. But I was nervous earlier. I'm like, oh God, and I didn't unmute myself. Here I am chatting. I didn't unmute myself. Like, shoot, I didn't unmute myself. But oh well. But yeah, I was a little nervous one. So, but I'm glad you made it and impressed. But yeah, now it's my turn to go on your panel one.
Yeah, I'll be getting one together here coming up.
Yeah. Yeah, I know it. I got a message through FPV that you're gonna start doing some of the research on your channel, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, you gotta build your channel one. That's why I told you to put your link. Oh. But you did good.
If it builds, that's cool, but that's just not ever been my goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, with the more channels that we can do the research on, the more you get out. You can. So
Yeah.
that's the only way. But everything will come into its place where it needs to be.
I agree.
So. But I do appreciate you and FPV, though. Honestly, I do.
I appreciate you guys. You guys brought me in and listened to what I had to say and taught me a whole lot. So in return, so it's good.
Hey, we're learning from you, but we're learning from you too. You have good knowledge and wisdom, and to do things. You both do.
Yeah, we all have our part. We all have our part, though. Everybody's got a little piece to the truth. They really do.
Yeah. But anyways, I'm gonna stop here because it's already 11:23, and I'm pretty sure it's late over there, one where you're at.
Yeah.
So, thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you for having me too, Amiga. And nice to chat with you, one.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, great build. And thank you everyone in the chat too, because
Yeah.
they inspire, and thank you for all the positive things that you said. I didn't respond to everything, but I seen those messages, so thanks. And good night and much love.
Yep. Nighty night.
Okay,
Peace
now you
and
can
love,
close.
like they
Now you can close it out. You gotta do your thing.